welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittney Bundles, and today's video is going to be like an updates video. I'm going to be sharing with you all what's been going on in my life since I did my last updates video. And yeah, I've gotten some questions. I mentioned this in my last vlog, just in regards to, did I sell my home? Am I liking where I moved to? Have I visited my family? How have I been feeling? Just things like that. So if you are interested, be sure to give the video a big thumbs up. Please make sure that you are subscribed, and let's get right into it. I apologize, my hand's covering the camera. But as you can see, I have doctors. I can't even think of the right terminology for what I have on, but I just left the doctor's office because I've been feeling really weak, really weak. And they did some blood tests and pretty much told me that I was dehydrated, and I'm gonna actually stop and get a Gatorade before I go in, try to see if that can help with some of my electrolytes and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been feeling really dehydrated. Other than that though, I do have great news to share with you all. So yes, my house finally sold. I'm no longer the owner of my house, and I'm so happy to say that it finally sold. It sold with no realtor. It took a lot to actually, well, I don't want to say it took a lot, because it could have been a lengthier process, and it could have been a lot more that I needed to go through in order to sell it. But I'm so proud. I'm so proud of this process. I'm honestly proud of myself. I'm amazed at God, because I've been contemplating selling my house. Let me put it like this, for about maybe 3.5 years. And the one thing that was stopping me from selling my house was, not the one thing, but the things that were stopping me from selling my house was the repairs. There were some repairs that I needed to have done in my house. The roof was fine, the structure was fine, but there were cosmetic and some other things that I needed to get looked at and repaired before I sold it. So when I hired a realtor about 3 years ago and had someone come out to the house, they told me that they needed to look into pricing for new carpet. I had brand new windows in the house, but for the carpet, for updated ceiling work in the kitchen, because the tiles that were on the kitchen ceiling were just really old and outdated. So there was really nothing wrong with them. They just weren't in style. And what else did I need to get updated? They recommended that I get my back patio repainted and fixed up. So like there were some wood pieces that came off of the patio from my dogs and things like that. The basement pipes, some of the pipes needed to be replaced. So there were a lot of things. Like once the realtor told me everything that they recommend I get fixed in order for me to get the maximum amount that I could on my home, it really discouraged me, because I'm like, I don't want to take out a loan. I was looking at doing a home equity type of loan and getting everything repaired that way. But when you take out a home equity, you still have to pay that money back. And so I was just calculating everything. If I take out this and get, all of these things repaired, how much is my profit really going to be? And at that point, I really wasn't going to make too much of a profit, but I was going to be, it just didn't make sense. It did not make sense, because I felt like I could get that same profit without doing the repairs and without doing a home equity. Even though the home equity would have been paid off with the purchase of the home, it just didn't make sense when I looked. It didn't make sense to go that route when I looked at the final profit that I would walk away from. So I didn't do that. So I kind of put that idea of selling the house. I kind of just put on the back burner, and I didn't think about it anymore. I didn't pick it up. I didn't look into selling the house anymore. I was just kind of done. So the next year, I was like, you know what? I really do want to sell this house, because I want more space. Like when I first moved into the house, it was perfect. It was right by my kids' school. My kids were a lot smaller, so how the house was set up, it worked really great. And I thought that because I had 3 bedrooms in that house, that I was going to move my oldest son to my office, the room that I turned into my office. But that room gets so cold in the winter. And even though I had got new windows for isolation, and the insulation, excuse me, it still was really, really cold. So I couldn't put my baby there. So I used that room as my office, and it was just kind of crammed in that house. Like the ceilings were lower than I wanted them to be. I'm 5'8", so I'm not short at all. And I could literally reach my hands and touch the ceiling, which I dealt with, but it was just uncomfortable. The older that my kids got, the bigger that they got, it started to be uncomfortable for all of us. And then not on top of that, but when you own a home, it's a lot of responsibility as far as repairs, especially if you're getting a home that's like a fixer-upper, that's not a newer construction. Even if you get a newer construction, there's still going to be repairs. If you stay there long enough, or even if you just move in, there may be repairs that you need to get, maintenance that needs to be done on the home. You're living in it. But it was just a lot to constantly keep up with because it's just a lot in general. And see, I'm supposed to be heading to my mom's house, but subconsciously I'm like headed to my old house. I'll get to where I'm at. I'll get to how, I'm currently in Michigan right now. I'll get to all that in a minute. But I just wanted to wrap this up and say it was a lot with the repairs and the maintenance, especially on an older house. Yes, it can be done because I did it, but it was just a lot. The yard in the back was huge. I did do vlogs showing my backyard, and although I love the backyard, it was a lot of maintenance. Getting the backyard cut, making sure that the grass looked good. Not just that, but there was a mole that came into my yard. So, having to figure out how to get rid of that mole, and I had a lot of yard in the back. So it was just, making sure that I sprayed to make sure I can minimize the mosquitoes in the back, minimize the ticks because I had dogs at that point. So it was a lot. And then so I looked at selling the house on my own. So I just put up like a for sale sign in the front of my house, and that did attract people. People came, people looked at the house, and it was kind of the same as what my realtor advised, the same things that they pointed out, because it was a man and a woman, I believe. They worked for the same company, but the things that they pointed out were the things that the people that were interested in buying my house were pointing out too. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm back to the same position. So I just kind of considered not selling my house again. And it wasn't until I really started to map out, like I wrote down what I wanted for my life. I wrote down what kind of house I wanted or apartment. I wrote down what type of work I wanted to do, which was what I'm doing now, run my business. I wrote down, I don't know if I said the location where I wanted to live, but I wrote down all of that. And what I started doing was I started really making it my goal to watch every night videos of the area that I wanted to live in, or the areas that I wanted to live in, as well as the kind of houses, apartments, and or condos that I would want to live in if I could live any place. And so that really helped me. It really helped to keep me motivated. A lot of times, you can remain motivated, but there's different things that you can do to spark and increase that inspiration that's needed to actually get a move on and make what it is you want happen. Make what it is you're dreaming about your reality. So I started watching videos, and I included my children on the videos with me. And we just started looking at where we wanted to live. And I said, okay, I prayed about it. I'm like, there has to be a way to make this my reality. So I looked at what I needed to get done. Again, all the repairs. The longer you stay in the house and you don't get the repairs done, the more worn it gets. And so I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a chance on faith, and I'm going to put my house back on the market. I'm going to market it to a few different companies, which I did, and I'm going to list it as is. But while I'm doing that, I'm still going to go out and I'm going to look for the area that I want to live in down south. So that's what I was doing when I was vlogging and showing you all that I was looking for different places down south. I had not sold my home, but I still was looking for where I wanted to live. And that's what I said, I had to move on an act of faith, because I knew in my heart that God would take care of me and my family. I knew that. knew he would take care of us. He always has. He always does. So I did my part, and God fulfilled his word. While I was down there, I did find an apartment that I wanted to live in. I decided to go with an apartment because I didn't want to rush into buying another home and then having to, be there for longer than a year, and me really not like the area, or me really not like that house. I just, I just got the house just because I was in a rush. So I didn't want that. So I decided to get an apartment. The apartment that I got, I absolutely love. The ceilings are high. The windows are what I wanted. My bathroom is how I wanted my bathroom to be. My closet is how I wanted my closet to be. Like, everything that I wanted in my apartment is how I wanted it to be. So I really enjoy, how my apartment looks, because it's something that I have manifested. It's something that I have wanted for years. And it's just, I didn't know how I was going to get there. I was so nervous about moving. I was so nervous about, moving. I was nervous about a lot of things. I was so nervous about everything. I was nervous about moving. I was nervous about, being in an area that was unfamiliar to me. I was nervous about even leaving the house that I really wanted to leave. I was just nervous about it because it was something that I had never done, and it's something that's new. But I decided to do it. And when I did it, after I actually moved into the apartment, because there was a period where I was actually staying in a hotel, a extended stay hotel, with myself, my children, and my husband. And when we found the apartment that we were going to move to, it took some time for me to settle in. We didn't have all of the furniture there. It took some time for all that to get delivered. And so we were just, trying to live off of what we had, which we did. We did that. And I still went through my periods where I was really homesick, kind of like, dang, I really want to go back home. And I didn't have registered in my head that home was now down south where I moved. Even though home is still Michigan, I had to register in my head that, now when I'm referencing my physical home, it's now down here. So there was a lot of adjustments. Ultimately, I am happy with the decision that I made. I'm still able to frequently visit my family. I pick up and go literally whenever I feel. I pick up and go, literally, even if my husband says, let's just get in the car and go down, I'll do it. And I'm so grateful that we can do that. A lot of my family, they're shocked when I come, how I come, because I just come. I'll be like, okay, well, you want to go to Michigan, boys? And they'll say, yeah, and we'll just literally get in the car and go. Because my husband and I both have flexible businesses where we can do that. And, it's summer break, so my kids aren't at school right now. So we can just literally pick up and go whenever we want to do it. Make sure you keep the car in good working condition, and, I can get on the road and go. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm in Michigan. I'm actually stopping to get something to drink, some Gatorade. So that's that with my house. Everything's going good with my house. As far as my feelings, I kind of just went over that. My business, I'll be talking about that when I get back from getting Gatorade. So just one moment. All right, so I'm now leaving the store, picking up my Gatorade and my peanuts. All right, so my business. I can say that during the transition, my business slowed down. It slowed down to a fault of mine, because this is what I'm eating. If anyone's curious, they're honey roasted pistachios, so good. And I got this Gatorade. But it slowed down because I wasn't posting regularly. I wasn't vlogging regularly. Our days were pretty busy looking for different places to live, because it was very expensive staying in that hotel. So I was trying to get out of that hotel as soon as possible. Plus, the hotel's cramped. So I just wanted my own space, My kids started to get restless with being in the hotel. My husband wanted us out too. So we all were just like wanting to get out of the hotel. So during that time, we were kind of like in crunch mode. We were looking at different apartments, different houses. And I was not recording. I wasn't editing. I wasn't posting on social media frequently. And that's why I made a video a while ago just talking about how my business started to slow down. It started to slow down. And once I noticed that I wasn't being as consistent as I needed to be, I started to get right back into my normal routine. So I would just upload a video. I would post on Instagram every Wednesday. But I wasn't looking at the analytics. I wasn't looking at when I should post, when it made most sense, when the people that, follow my pages were actually on Instagram. I didn't look at the hashtags. I wasn't looking at the YouTube analytics on when it was the wisest for me to post videos. I wasn't doing anything like that. I really wasn't taking time to put a lot of tags in the tag portion of the video. So I was not being strategic. I was just being very routine. And I made a video titled, being too routine in your business can cause slow sales, because I've experienced that. And I've worked with other entrepreneurs that have said the same thing. They've experienced the same result, different circumstance, different business, but same results because they were too routine with their business. So, once I actually got into the apartment, I started to record again strategically, post strategically, and my numbers started reflecting that. Now, I'm not a numbers person, strictly. I look at the behaviors, but if you're doing the right behaviors, then a lot of times it will yield the number results that you're looking for. Like if I am doing the right behaviors and I'm, creating plans strategic to the success of my business, then typically I'll see the numbers reflecting that. And if they don't, then I'll try to, play around with a couple more things, trial and error, like I like to talk about, to get it to where it needs to be. So that's the sum of my business right now. It is picking back up momentum. It's a process. It's not like an overnight, okay, I found why my business slowed down, so now it's just gonna go back up overnight. No, it's a process. It's a grind. It's a marathon. It's not just something that happens overnight. You have to work at it. So I'm still working at it. I am seeing the results that I am anticipating. That I anticipated seeing. So that's great. And like I mentioned, I'm down with my family. I have met new friends where I live. I have gone out to eat with new people. I've gone to get my nails done with new people. I have become more social. It's definitely pushed me out of my box of just being to myself and for my business. Like my business pushed me out of my box of not talking to really anyone that I didn't know. And now the move has pushed me out of my box to talk to people more as well, to start building relationships and friendships where I now stay. So that's that. The next thing that I need to look into is schools. I have an idea of the schools that are in the school district where we stay, but I haven't gone in and spoken to anybody. Every time I go up there, my husband and I have only rode up there once, but nobody was there. So I'll have to find when they're there, because when I went, they said they would be open on the website and on the phone, but they weren't. So I'll have to catch them when they're there. And then actually sit down and talk to the teachers and allow my kids to tour the school and, see how we like it. But that's pretty much the update. The biggest thing that I was aiming for, like shooting for, that needed to be done like pretty much ASAP was the sale of the house. And finding another residence to stay at that we liked. if you are interested in how I sold the home, like in detail, without a realtor, without doing any repairs, and with still leaving off with the profit and loans paid off, because I got new windows for my house and I was still paying on the windows, that loan needed to be paid off too before I could sell the house. So if you're interested in all of the details in regards to that, then I'll be more than happy to create a video separate, like a separate video just going over how I did that. Again, if you're interested, if you're considering selling a house and you just want to learn information on how to do that, because there are a lot of houses that were on the market before I put my house on the market, and they're still on the market now. So I just didn't want to have to pay 2 mortgages, and not mortgages. I didn't want to have to pay a mortgage and rent, simultaneously. And there is a way around that. Like you can, I don't know if it's called deferment, but there's something that you can do so you don't have to pay your mortgage for a couple months if you are in the process of selling it. And I can get the right terminology and everything like that, but I didn't even want to have to do that for an extended period of time, so I was trying to sell it as soon as possible. But that's pretty much an update on how I've been, what's been going on in my life. And I'll continue to do more updates, letting you all know what's happening with my state of mind, my family, my business, my home. If I decide to stay there another year, or if we actually go out home hunting, I'll take you all on the journey with me. But I'm about to get out. I'm at my mom's house now. I do want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.